Hello everybody, it's the Lawn Gnome, and welcome to the March 2016 Great Film Throwback Day. We all know that the Oscars recently happened, and I definitely enjoyed the ceremony. There were definitely some shoo-ins and a couple of big surprises, but one of the things that always makes me happy is when I find out that the movie that I thought was the best picture of the previous year turned out to be the Best Picture Oscar winner. That usually says a lot about your taste in film. And then sometimes it can go in completely the other direction. So today we're going to take a look at a Best Picture winner from Oscars past, and that is the Kevin Costner starred and directed film from 1990, Dances with Wolves. And now, I have to first start this review and let everybody know something about Dances with Wolves. I hated this movie for a very long time without seeing it. And that's only because of my own personal preferences and likes towards film. When you find out that a movie like Dances with Wolves beats out Martin Scorsese's masterpiece in Goodfellas, you seriously wonder what is going on with the Motion Picture Association of America. So, for years, constantly bashing Dances with Wolves, there were some people that were saying to me, you shouldn't be doing that if you haven't seen the movie. And I never really wanted to see that movie because of how much I despised the fact that it took the Oscar for Best Picture away from Martin Scorsese, as well as the Best Director's Oscar, and it was given to Kevin Costner. But I decided to bite the bullet and see this movie. The story of a Civil War Union officer named John Dunbar who was facing death. And instead of going in one route, he decides to commit suicide, if you will, and go to an abandoned fort right on the enemy lines for the purposes of just waiting out the rest of his remaining days. And it turns out that this possible suicide attempt turned out to be an experience of communicating with nature, communicating with other cultures, and more importantly, exploring the beauty of the unknown frontier of the United States of the time. The production value of this film is definitely one of the best, and it was way ahead of its time. The fact that Kevin Costner wanted to make it as authentic as possible, the fact that he used true Native Americans, the fact that he actually got linguistics people to make sure that the ancient languages of the Indian tribes were actually used to capture the authenticity, and even renting out Ted Turner's Buffalo Ranch to make an amazing sequence of a true struggle for survival in the wilderness was definitely something incredible to see. Especially when you take a look at a movie from this past year in The Revenant. When you take a look at the authenticity of the landscapes and all of the realistic things that were put into the production of that film, you can definitely tell that Dances with Wolves was a major influence. And I definitely will say that I really admired the fact that Kevin Costner did what he did to make this film what it was, because that is the makings of a Best Picture award winner. But then there's the major flaw in this movie, and it actually is two par. Not only is Kevin Costner so horrible in this movie, and I have said this when I reviewed his performance in JFK, you just cannot get anything out of this guy when it comes to his acting talent. And not only is he terrible, but it spills out onto the entire cast, and that's probably because of the fact that he's the guy sitting in the director's chair. There is so much room for character development. There's a love story in there. There's a survival story. A story of learning and discovering oneself. And it's in that movie. All 3 hours and 1 minute of this movie. But because of the fact that the acting is so terrible, you don't get all of those feelings that you want to feel. And the other major flaw is that it's 3 hours and 1 minute of ultimate yawn. I was so bored while I was watching this movie. I have seen movies that run this long. I have seen movies that run longer than this and find myself grossly entertained with everything that is thrown at me. And there were points in time where I was considering dozing off. There were points in time where I wanted to turn off the movie because I had just had enough. But There was that little voice inside my head saying, if you truly want to live out the rest of your days bashing this film, you must see this movie till the very end so you have the true ability to do so, because no one is going to say don't knock it until you try it to you anymore, because you went out and you saw it and you tried it and you despised it because of everything that it could have been. You got nothing from it. This movie has no rewatchability for me. I never, ever, ever want to see this movie again. So, if you are a true film appreciator and you want to see some incredible production value, I would definitely say give this a shot. But unless you have a massive crush on Kevin Costner or a serious Buffalo fetish, do yourself a favor and avoid this film like the plague. How this movie beat one of the most dynamic, entertaining, full of personality films in Martin Scorsese's Goodfellas for the Best Picture Academy Award. At this point in time, now that I have seen both of these movies respectively till the very end, it will officially be a mystery to me. Dances with Wolves gets 2.5 out of 4. So that's my review, everybody. I would love for you to put your comments in the box below and let's have a decent and classy discussion about Dances with Wolves. And I'll see you in the next Great Film Throwback Day. Actions speak louder than words.